Hello and welcome to our late cast.
Hey guys, yeah, welcome to our late podcast. What happened was something went wrong with the streaming software, but here we are. Welcome to the Crypto Cave podcast. My name is Jacob. Today I'm joined by Rufus and Phil, and we are going to talk about the ETH merge today. But also, we are going to grab some charts and we are going to see what the market did. Do we want to start off with the ETH chart, guys?
Yeah, let's keep it simple.
All right. So here we have the ETH chart. So we did a nice little dive here. What do you think, Phil?
Yeah, we rejected off of resistance pretty good there. Looking at some of my other charts too. Probably have a little more way to go on this would be my guess. Although I'm not sure that we'll see new lows after this. There's a lot of good support levels to hit between here and our previous lows. So yeah, just stay safe out there, I guess.
Yeah, stay safe. I mean, I think we've, I'm not really sure if this is the lowest. We were just talking about that as well, right, Rufus? You were super bearish.
Yeah, you know me. I'm a daddy bear.
You're a daddy bear. Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, markets are pretty interesting. BTC market kind of looks the same. What I found very interesting though is the ETH Classic chart. What do you think about this, Rufus?
I mean, yeah, that seems like particularly when you zoom out and get to the all-time, it looks a lot more bullish than a lot of charts do. We're seeing consistent going up, and it didn't have the kind of just collapse that we see in other coins. I mean, this is a really bullish looker. Probably driven a lot by speculation about post-merge security that's added to the coin, to the chain. And the big issue with ETH Classic, of course, being that it has historically been the subject of 51% attacks. And that's likely to stop being an issue after the merge.
Yeah, so basically what happens is the miners bring back support for against 51% attacks. If for all of our viewers that don't know, a 51% attack is when someone takes more than 51% of the hash rate and uses it to alter the blockchain, basically, or halt the blockchain, or try to screw around with it, basically. And yeah, so all these miners moving over to ETH Classic is going to bring a lot more stability. It's going to be a lot more expensive to do an attack on the ETH Classic chain. So yeah. Anyway, I think what
this is also kind of the big fight, I guess, between proof of work and proof of stake, right? Like, this will be the marketplace battlegrounds, and I know there's that ETH POW or something like that, but I mean, there's no code for that that I've seen, and like, not even an announcement of the snapshot or anything like that, or details of how it's supposed to happen. So, like,
yeah, it's really weird, right? Because the funny thing is, I actually saw some code. There were like 6 commits in the GitHub, but the weird thing is with the ETH POW fork, is that you can already trade it on some exchanges, and that just doesn't make any sense. How can you trade it already if it's not yet forked? That's weird, right?
Yeah, unless they've made like a futures of some kind, like we want to speculate with an exchange token as a placeholder. I think I've remembered something like that happening on Bitfinex with the Bitcoin Cash fork. I think you could trade Bitcoin Cash before, but they were there. They were very clear that that's what was happening. So I mean, yeah, this Ethereum Classic already has bridges built to it. Already has a little bit of an ecosystem, and its hash rate's already been moving up as well. So I think this will really be the battleground coin for proof of work versus proof of stake, and possibly the Ethereum Classic community will get to talk about its flippening of ETH someday.
Yeah. I think ETH Classic is a good one. To be fair, I think the ETH POW coin is basically just a cash grab. Obviously, we could have known when we saw that Justin Sun was involved. That's basically a bad sign. But yeah. Anyway, any interesting news topics as well? I had a funny one. I think we can all laugh about this. It was everybody remember Martin Shkreli?
Oh, yeah.
So he did he had his own type of boating accident, and something it wasn't really a boating accident, but it was he downloaded some porn. I mean, allegedly, obviously. We can't say if it's true or not. I mean, it's just his words against the internet, basically. But what happened is he downloaded a file which was called the bigtitsroundasses.exe, and yeah, basically that stole his coin. That just
Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Can we figure out if we can we download it somewhere? Let's not do this. It's suggesting all kinds of weird websites to me. Let's not search for this again, especially not on a podcast.
And I guess the hacker can't dump it via Tornado Cash easily anymore, huh?
Yeah, Tornado Cash isn't available anymore, so the only way to move it around is basically by using any of the other 7,000 options to mix coins with. But yeah.
I can kind of on that topic, some tweets that I was looking at from earlier this week. Some big questions floating around the Ethereum community lately. I guess these haven't been decided in advance, even though we're less than 30 days from the merge now. No, did I get that right? I think I did.
Mm-hmm.
Unless I don't
Yeah,
know.
we're 23 days or so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So this is the perfect time to be asking questions to the community, like Lido, Coinbase, Kraken, staked US, and Bitcoin Suisse own 66% of the staking network already. So if they're asked to comply with censorship requests, will they do it? Or will they shut down their staking service to preserve the network integrity at, of course, great cost to themselves?
That's a great question. That's a great question. I mean, to be honest, I think they are just going to comply with regulations because
That's the incentive, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, because they obviously receive about 1% or 2% of every coin that they mine, probably, right? So they are so they are
You've got all
incentivized
that
to
Ethereum.
yeah.
Are you just gonna sit on it now and let yourself be diluted versus all your competitors who are complying, or are you going to be the white knight for the network, right? And I mean, I think I mean that we're in this tech because we know that it works on incentives, and when you set up incentives properly, you can have a fully autonomous system. But if you don't, well, or if you're not careful about what incentives you create,
Hmm.
sometimes unintended consequences, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy what's happening. I heard that Coinbase said that they're willing to give up the not do the staking if that requires them that they are trying to pull a white knight on it, I suppose. They said that they're willing to give up the staking if they're forced to comply, but that was after Vitalik threatened to burn anyone who complies. You know, talk about a nice decentralized network. Um,
Yeah, that was
he,
the next. All right, go ahead.
I mean, yeah, that's the next article I'd love to
Uh, the,
segue in.
the the tweet I had was depending on the result of that first question, if the majority of the stake chooses to censor, the next question is, do we burn it or not? And oh yeah, here we are.
Yeah, yeah.
How would you even go about that? That's my question. Like, if the majority is censoring, then is it censorship? It's so. What are you saying? Like, you're gonna have a minority chain or something that is gonna burn? How? What is the technical? How does that work?
So what actually happened? What did he say? What did Vitalik say? He was angry that bigger corporations are talking about complying with censorship in the blockchain.
Yeah, and uh, I mean, here he said that he would uh I guess what is the exact quote? Let's
Well,
go
the I've got one that's
there you go.
talking about burning stake via social consensus, which to me that means literally a minority fork that we just declare as the new Ethereum because we have the name basically. Like what is Ethereum? I think has been just like Bitcoin, years ago. Um, and a lot of people during the block size war viewed the increase as a social attack, and a social attack on Bitcoin is quite possibly the only valid attack, like or at least the weakest point, is if you get just the people to decide that Bitcoin should be this way, then you might be able. That's your best bet at changing it. And of course, when you have a known lead developer, celebrity like Vitalik or something like that, certainly what he thinks Ethereum is matters quite a bit more than maybe Coinbase or even all of these large, people combined. So if he's got him and his community and they decide that they don't like the censorship, even though they don't have the majority of the coin, I'm quite sure that they can push through a fork. They've got no problem forking, right? It's
Yeah, they
I
get
think
they get consensus for all their forks really quickly.
yeah, amazingly quick. Despite these infographics I've seen, where there's apparently a very robust and resilient, like decision making process with all of these steps. Like for all of the steps, the changes seem to happen really, really fast. Especially when they need to. Almost too fast to keep everybody on the same page. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's an infographic. I'm not sure how much that's actually getting followed, or if it maybe just looks like more steps than it actually is, or something.
I found
Yeah.
the exact posts, and I've posted them in the group there. Vitalik literally says if there's a 51% coalition starts censoring blocks, other validator clients can detect this and use the, and I quote, 99% fault tolerant consensus to agree that this is happening and coordinate a minority fork. So, yes, he's proposing a minority fork takes over the chain, reorgs, redecides, implements how staking works.
Yeah.
The next picture there is also by Vitalik from his website, in which he defines the methodology, the precise methodology that would use, and says for other harder to detect attacks, notably 51% coalition censoring everyone else, the community could coordinate a minority user activated soft fork in which the attacker's funds are once again largely destroyed. In Ethereum, this is done via inactive leak mechanism.
The inactivity leak mechanism.
Inactivity leak mechanism. Yeah, it's
Oh, because
bizarre
they'll be
world we're
on
living
they'll
in.
be on the fork chain, and from the fork chain's perspective, all of these validators will be inactive because they won't be, um, they won't be including the censored transactions. They won't be building on that chain, so they'll look like they're inactive, and then they lose all their ETH.
What's
Um,
funny that he's not even talking about is the fact that this would mean penalizing, harming 51% of Ethereum's holders. All those people who are holding Ethereum on these exchanges are the ones who are going to get hit by this. And is this actually going to be the most popular solution? Is this going to be the thing that people will follow because he said that this is what should happen? Or are people going to want to keep their money? It's almost
I
as
think
if
I think they probably will. Yeah.
It sounds
it's
dangerous, though, right?
it's dangerous as can be. I mean, this is literally the Bolshevik, situation of we know what's best for the majority. We
Well,
know what's best for everyone.
this creates a very dangerous personal situation for Vitalik too. I think if he wants to go toe to toe like that, because it is basically his word, right? If he decides that there should be a minority fork, then there will be, because without him to lead it, then the economic nodes have the power otherwise. And for as much as I've read where stakers try to say that, like, oh, it's just as bad in proof of work, right? Like, look at these mining pools with 51% already or something like that. And like the consequences are just so different. I mean, if a mining pool decides to misbehave, everybody can leave overnight. And ensure the mining pool probably has a lot of their own equipment, but it's not largely their equipment on that mining pool. And then the miners that leave suffer no consequences for doing so. They can immediately be up somewhere else. Whereas in the staking system, you've got the lockup, right? And with these exchanges, you'd have to withdraw. They could stop you from withdrawing potentially. I don't think Coinbase or Kraken probably ever do that, or any of the really big ones. But I mean, it's a possibility there. Not your keys, not your coins, right?
Yeah, yeah. So the thing is as well, right? I mean, this is extremely dangerous for ETH. It probably could be very bad as well, right? I mean, if you think about that, if you think about, these large exchanges all of a sudden deciding what blocks get included and what transactions get included and which ones don't, it destroys the ecosystem of said coin, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely guns at everybody's head. It seems like Vitalik has a gun at all the exchanges' head. The exchanges have a gun at the Ethereum network and all the users' heads. And what is somebody gonna get spooked and something happens, right? Or and then maybe it'll all wind up fine in the end, but that's going to be a pretty messy time that I'm sure the markets will react to in some way.
Yeah, it sounds like a very difficult time for the ETH Foundation as well, because uh, I don't think anybody really thought that this was going to happen. Obviously, with what happened to Tornado Cash, I didn't really see it coming, but I mean, maybe we've been a little bit blind on it,
The
because
maxis did, right? This is always what the Bitcoin maxis have said: is anytime you accept any degree of centralization into your network, this is the kind of stuff you're inviting, and it's not a matter of if, just when. And they've been right pretty much every single time. And shit, lost my train of thought.
I mean, I certainly have been kind of screaming this into the wind for a long time that there's not nearly enough attention paid to decentralization. I would say even in Bitcoin, the I don't. I guess I don't need to get into that right now. I've done my speeches on that in the past, but the idea of proof of stake being in any way decentralized is ridiculous. Proof of stake means that governments, all they have to do is manage the on ramps and off ramps, and those on ramps and off ramps are going to hold the majority of coin, and they have to interact with governments that by their very nature, unless we come up with some decentralized way of exchanging coin for
fiat.
fiat on a large scale, which is not going to be possible because fiat is controlled.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, unless everybody goes, for example, like in China or something, where you have large OTCs and everybody is just, exchanging cash for coins, basically. You don't really see that in the West.
I mean, another thing you would have to see is another option would be if you could purchase things in coin very easily, if everything was, you could just transact natively in crypto,
Mm-hmm.
that would be great. But, I live in New York City. There are a handful of places that I can use crypto at in my uh, neighborhood. Yeah, it's not happening fast for sure. It may happen someday, but the current coins and the current ecosystem doesn't seem to value or support that.
Yeah, I think the issue is as well. It's like as a retailer, you're like, all right, I accept Bitcoin now, and then the next day someone comes in, oh, do you also accept ETH? And then you're like, all right, I'll just add ETH to the mix. And then the next day someone comes and he's like, yeah, do you accept Ripple? And then you add that to the mix. And then the next day someone comes, hey, do you accept Shiba Inu coins? It's like it's tough to keep up, you know. I mean, myself as a crypto enthusiast, sometimes I have the idea that I'm going insane with all these new types of coins and stuff like that. But just imagine being a retailer and having to keep up with that crap, basically, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and if I can move back to before I get too far from it, ETH and staking. Um, there's all these proof of stake Ethereum compatible EVM chains out there, right? We've got Polygon,
Mm-hmm.
AVAX,
Yeah.
Binance. A lot of the exchanges run their own, and all of them are vastly superior in regards to transaction throughput. And of course, they've achieved that through the centralization, right? When you trade some decentralization for some centralization, you get throughput essentially
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
very easily. So Ethereum is trading away some of their decentralization, but they're not trading it for throughput. It says right on their merge page that it's not going to do anything about gas. There's no change to the block times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ethereum is essentially going to be exactly the same as it was, only now without proof of work. So
I
less
mean,
decentralized, less secure.
isn't it going to spread out the block times evenly though?
Oh yeah, it'll be more consistent, but I mean, proof of work achieves an average block time, no problem. Like, I don't really think you get anything out of this consistency because it's not like there are empty space in blocks. You know, because the miners were getting paid. Like, before at 1559, there weren't any empty space in the blocks. Like, there's no lack of transactions to not fill these with. But either way, so now then, what is the point of ETH? Like, in the context of all these other blockchains, because and this was my argument against Bitcoin Cash as well, is that it was attempting to be something it was going to be worse at, and like both at what it was going to transform Bitcoin into was going to lead to a worse Bitcoin, but then also a worse other things. Like, there was already other chains that had more throughput on them that did so with a more elegant trade-off. Because I mean, you can make a trade-off and not get very much, or you can make a trade-off and get a lot. Like, I think Binance is heavily centralized chain, and I don't think they have very efficient throughput versus something like AVAX, which is slightly less centralized and works a little bit better.
To be honest, I'm
So
not
yeah,
quite
I
read
think
up on AVAX, so I'm not sure.
okay.
But I mean, I do think the throughput on BNB chain is quite fast, though, right?
Compared to ETH, yes, but I mean, and maybe it's similar to some of these other chains, but some of the other chains have a slightly they're more decentralized than Binance chain. So maybe because they kind of built it from the ground up to be that way. I think the best example here is Solana, which built itself completely from the ground up in Rust to be absolutely as fast as it can, and not really care too much about centralization. Right? If we start from that, then we can build a really fast blockchain.
Yeah,
So
and
what
you
I'm
really
saying
see what happens with that though, with a centralization aspect of Solana, for like the fact that they like closed the blockchain for like over 10 times this year or something like that,
yeah,
you know.
they have downtime. They have to coordinate the restarts with their validators manually. Yeah,
Yeah, that
very
sounds like a pain
centralized
in the
there.
ass. Yeah, yeah.
But Ethereum is essentially, in my opinion, destroying its value proposition. If it was still the only EVM around, then sure, then it could move to proof of stake, not make any gains with regards to throughput, and then not really lose anything in terms of its place in the market. But I think now it is, and I am not really sure that post merge it will really have that much of a future, right? We've got other chains with even sharding now. Like, what's the point? It's slow, right? Now ETH is the grandpa.
Yeah, I mean, people say that with Bitcoin as well, and there it is, right at the top.
But Bitcoin is still decentralized. Bitcoin didn't throw its value proposition under the bus.
That's true. That's
it
true.
Maintained what it had.
Yeah.
And now I think Ethereum is moving to be more like something else, and it's sort of betraying its it's the nature of what it actually was. Like, it's trying to pretend. And
yeah.
So on that note, along those lines, I wanted to highlight a few things just for discussion here. The big one is that it seems like the Ethereum Foundation and Vitalik has thrown out completely their original map for the merge. They're going to, rather than doing a slow merge with the difficulty bomb, they're going to start the difficulty bomb on the 13th of September and merge on the 14th.
Yeah, that's a bit weird, right? Because I think we were always told that it was going to gradually move away. Yeah, but now all of a sudden they have this mechanism, which they apparently already used in the test nets, by the way. So we actually could have seen it coming. But so the idea is now that it will just switch over, and it won't, you won't be able to mine for a little bit longer. It'll just be unmineable from one moment to the next, which is, I mean, that's gonna be very interesting as well, right? That's gonna be that's gonna cause a lot of headaches for a lot of people, I think.
So what I find the most interesting about this is that it goes outright against everything that they had been saying from the very beginning. The whole plan with the merge, with the switch to proof of stake, was number one, only to do it under the circumstances that it could be decentralized, that it could be run in a decentralized manner. They were supposed to, they promised that in their ICO, that they would only do the switch if they could solve the centralizing nature of proof of stake.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other aspect, which they had been very clear about for many, many years, was that it's dangerous to do a sudden switch, which now they seem to have just said, oh, well, we said that, but whatever. But it is dangerous to do a sudden switch, because the way that proof of work works, the incentives to propagate blocks, to share blocks, to not to mine cooperatively, are that there are more blocks to be found.
Yeah.
When you get rid of that, when you wholesale get rid of that, when there are no more blocks to be found, then why would I ever want to do anything but just solo mine? And the closer we get to the merge moment, the larger there's an incentive not to mine Ethereum. Because if I'm mining Ethereum at that last minute, or my pool is mining Ethereum at that in those last 100 blocks and doesn't find a block, or even finds a bunch of blocks but not enough to pay me my full reward, I would have been better off mining anything else. And so I have an incentive to stop mining Ethereum because it becomes increasingly risky that I'm not going to get my paid for my work, because statistics are great for infinitely occurring things. Over large numbers, statistics work wonderfully. But rolling the dice with $1,000 or $1 million worth of machinery is not something that people want to do.
Yeah. So what you're saying, if when there's so what you're saying is when there's only 1,000 blocks left and your pool only mines 1 in 1,000 coins, then you don't want to be staying on that chain and have the risk of not mining that one block that you need, and screwing yourself over. So you will switch over before that, but doesn't that delay the merge as well? If a lot of people switch,
That's the most fascinating thing, is that actually means people would have an incentive to just switch beforehand. A huge amount of that should switch beforehand if they follow their rational incentives. And it'll delay and delay. It'll also reduce the security. And then we get into this really interesting situation where Ethereum could be not even the most profitable coin. It could have less than 50% of the GPU hashing before the merge, even before the difficulty bomb. And if that happens, then it could be reorged. And it could be reorged multiple times. And there's a huge incentive to reorg and mine only for reorging, because I only want to, there's a finite number of blocks. I want them all. I no longer want to propagate other people's blocks, because every block I propagate actually harms me all of a sudden. It's one less that I can get on a finite number. There's no ability for me to move forward. So why wouldn't I just solo mine and reorg the chain? And why wouldn't everybody else solo mine and reorg the chain? And then we can fight it out and see who's got the best, who finds the best final block. And you could have 3, 2, 4, whatever, however many large miners competing on this, but they have no incentive to share, particularly on those last 100 blocks or so. Why? Why share? Why do that when we know somebody's can win? There's no incentive to do that.
But isn't it made so they changed the fact that it should happen after a block, right? Because so you're not 100% sure when it's going to happen, right?
No, you are 100%
it's after the
sure.
terminal. No, it's after the terminal difficulty.
Exactly. So it's whoever can find the block.
You can't exactly right. That's what you're saying is because it could be reorged to find that. And it's funny just what a potential mess this could be. And I feel like if this was on Bitcoin or something, Bitcoin's going to have to hard fork in the future just to fix a Unix epoch problem. Like it's a Y2K bug and it's already known about. It's just going to be fixed and there won't be any contention around the hard fork or anything. But I'm sure that will be scheduled like a year in advance and give like all of the exchanges and everybody who has an interest in Bitcoin just as much time as they possibly could, with the understanding that these people that have to interact with Bitcoin probably don't as like their primary business necessarily, right? Because I mean, if you want to use Bitcoin, your business shouldn't have to be Bitcoin just to use it, right? So busy people and busy businesses need lots of time to coordinate important things like their transactional ability, and they need lots of time to do it. And we've just now scheduled this date for this Ethereum merge a month in advance, and it's not even really for sure. I kind of just find that wildly irresponsible for the amount of money that's on the ecosystem.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I was laughing about something else that I found wildly irresponsible. Let me just pull it up. It was Mark Zuckerberg's metaverse that he spent $10 billion on. Did you guys see that?
I mean,
What
I
a work
saw
of
it in
art.
passing.
Or a work of something.
Doesn't this look $10 billion worth?
Oh yeah.
Does it run on GameCube or Nintendo 64?
I'm not sure. But yeah, I had a good laugh about this. Like, how can you spend 10 billion bucks on something and have it look like this, you know? I mean, if my 15-year-old cousin who just learned, you know, if my 15-year-old cousin comes up to me who just learned 3D modeling and was like, "Here, look what I built," I'd be like, "Oh, all right, you know, you get a sticker and an extra ice cream." You know, it's like, what's going on there? You know, what do they pay the? I mean, is everybody just that dead inside at Meta that like they're this is the best they can come up with?
They should have spent some of that money upgrading to the paid version of the software or something. I don't.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, like you said,
it's nice that they're trying to get into this space, right? Like, because if you want mass adoption in crypto, this is what you get. If this is even crypto, I'm not actually sure.
I mean, it's not. It's basically just a VR chat for boomers, right?
Yeah.
Well, sorry about
a Second Life, but not as good.
Yeah, I feel bad for the stockholders. Just
no crypto in it.
Just think that you have $10 million worth of stock, and then you see that, and then you're like, wow, this is really disappointing.
I mean, I really think we should focus a bit more on the merge.
Yeah.
On that.
Back to the merge.
You know, the thing here is, so they've thrown out everything, and it seems like many of the people in mining aren't aware of this. We weren't really made that aware of it until recently ourselves, that they're going to try to just stop instantly without the difficulty bomb. So this leads me to a number of really big questions, which is number one, is what was the point of the difficulty bomb exactly? Like, if we're not going to use it at all, I don't know. I know that probably a lot of people don't remember this. Not many people were into Ethereum back then.
Back in 2006 with the Ice Age.
2017, 16 with the Ice Age, yeah. But there, I got the chart for you.
The famous block time
destroyed the network. This absolutely destroyed the network. They had a difficulty bomb that activated in July of 2016, and they let it run all the way to October of 2017. They brought block times from 13 seconds to 30 seconds. It created congestion like crazy, did a ton of damage to the network.
Yeah.
As did the next one and the one after that and the most recent one. And what was it all for?
Well, they said it was supposed to be an incentive to switch to proof of stake, but I guess it was just to make people believe them that they were doing it, right?
That's what it looks like. At this point, it was just something
carrot.
To show people, to signal for people that we're working on it. I don't understand. I don't understand. The whole reason that they included the difficulty bomb was because they said in the beginning, in the white paper, that it would be dangerous to flip a switch and
Yeah.
turn on proof of stake.
So in the
They
end,
needed to phase it out.
in the end, the difficulty bomb was only there to make sure that they got their work done or something like that. Probably, right?
It appears that way, I guess, but did they need that to get their work done? I'm confused.
I
They
mean,
lead the project. They
I
do everything.
they've been
you know?
talking about the merge since 2015 or something, you know.
Yeah,
But
and
Almost sounds like they didn't have a plan.
it almost
they
seems
set
like
those goals.
they're making it up as they go along, despite the timelines and plans and everything that's been written and said about it. It seems like this is going to be a mess. I can't emphasize that enough, people. This is going to be an absolute mess. And
yeah, it's going to be a $200 billion mess, basically.
yeah, yeah, this is going to be a mess. They don't understand what's going to happen. Nobody around us knows what's going to happen. Most people don't even know what the plans are.
So a lot more than 200 billion, actually, because we got to include all the DeFi that's locked on it as well.
Oh yeah. It's not. It's probably double. It's probably double that because of all the ERC
Bitcoin's market cap. If you include everything,
let's look it up.
Yeah, if you include all the tokens on there, it's going to be even worse.
I've got one number that says 73 billion TVL and DeFi for what this is tracking anyway.
I mean,
but that's
that
not
doesn't make sense because it's not even including USDC and Tether. Then
well, at least for those. So like, I was thinking more like Aave and Curve, but at least for the custodial stablecoins, they'll be able to just void and redeploy. Like that money's not gone. I guess
it's
nobody
not
will have
gone,
way
but
to redeem
it is subject.
It's locked, yeah,
Ransom, it's held hostage.
Mm.
It's totally yeah.
Well, if they and this would probably be too difficult to even attempt, but if Ethereum was just gone overnight and never coming back, USDC and Tether could arrange a like a lifeboat abandoned ship on another blockchain. Since your EVM keys will work, you can just they'll just airdrop you what you had.
Yeah, they could fork it
on a different chain. Yeah,
they could fork the chain, and you'd be able to access your. I mean, that's obviously the nice thing about blockchain. You know, it's not gone or anything, but. So, I mean, why would ETH just disappear, though? That just doesn't
saying,
really
like,
sound like... Yeah.
Disappeared, but it would certainly be... there's all sorts of... It's held hostage. All of this stuff, all of these coins, the entire ecosystem is going to potentially suffer catastrophically. Certainly... I think there's no way that it doesn't suffer permanently due to simply the centralizing force and the continued involvement of governments and institutions controlling the ecosystem, having more and more of a say in it, the lack of censorship resistance that is systemic of proof of stake.
This is what the maxis always get wrong when they make their doomsday predictions that do eventually happen. Is the implication of all of their doomsday predictions is that it's all over for that chain after that. No one will want to use it after that happens, but that's never true. The development teams of all these things, rebuild and fix and redeploy, and the chain continues to exist. Just now with the mask fully off, that any that no real decentralization is taking place here. That's the damage at the end of the day.
Yeah, take a look at Solana, for example. You know, there's a lot of Solana fanboys out there that, you
they
know,
don't care.
they don't care that it's centralized. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of ETH fanboys won't care either, and ETH
Ripple's
will
been
continue to be
around
here.
forever. Ripple
Yeah,
proves
yeah.
that you don't have to be decentralized to add value and
Exactly.
have value.
hmm
But
I don't know about Ripple, but
I mean, they also proved that you're gonna get sued in America if you, you know, run unlicensed securities.
theirs has value because they have most of the value themselves, and nobody can dump on you when you have 70% of the supply. So that's why they've been top 10 since day one.
absolutely,
It's the
no,
corner market.
They were
did
early.
a very good job of doing that, of managing supply basically, and yeah, that's very interesting phenomenon. They control the price completely. Anyways, yes.
You want to know something funny? I once installed the Ripple wallet because I had got sent some coins by a friend of mine, and you know you actually have to have 10 Ripple in your wallet for it to work. You have to like you have to like
There it
lock in
is.
10 coins for it to work. It's like it was the craziest stuff ever. I have no clue if they changed that or not, but this was back in 2015 or something like that. Yeah,
Neo was similar. That you needed. It could only be transferred in. The minimum quantity was 1 coin.
oh.
You couldn't do any points, you know.
And Neo also had like gas emissions or something that you got while holding it, right? Something like that.
I don't know. I just remember when I found out that I needed 1 coin. I got like I don't know, some amount of Neo, and then I couldn't use it because of the 1 coin minimum or something. I was just trying to learn how to use it, you know, and
You just give up when you read something
when
like
I
that.
realized I was
Yeah.
like, this is a joke. This is ridiculous. You know.
But I mean, there's a lot of people that want to invest in ridiculous coins as well, right?
Oh yeah, you know they don't care about the tech.
I feel bad about the Dogecoin founder though. It's like he made Dogecoin, but he like never did any pre-mine or whatsoever, you know. And now his coin's like super popular. Elon Musk talks about it, and he just doesn't have any.
I think he sold what he had anyway. I mean, he left the project long ago.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Dogecoin was there when Cripsy got hacked, basically. I remember that. That was a disaster, man. Did you ever see that video where they visited the guy, Big Vern, to ask what happened? Did you see the video where they went to the Cripsy office and they asked him? They asked him, "Hey, what happened? What's happening to all our coins?" And he just straight up lies in the camera, and he's like, "No, everything's fine. Everything's there." And you could just see in his eyes that he was lying his ass off. That was so insane. That was like, holy balls. Like, I don't know. Anyway, what do you think? What do you guys think of the guys from Mount Gox reimbursing people their crypto?
Oh, they're actually doing it at last.
I'm not sure if it's already happened, but it looks like they're actually going to.
Yeah, they've been saying they're going to, but anyways, what I think is I'll believe it when I see it.
They're going to
Kinda like
reimburse them in USD at the price it was when
it got hacked.
Happened, right? Yeah.
I mean, according to Japanese law, you can do that. Apparently,
I don't know if that's what they're doing. I'm just.
Apparently, I mean, I'm not sure either, but according to Japanese law, you can do that. So, you know, what's his name again? Mark?
Magical Tux.
Magical Tux, yeah. Mark Karpales or something. Mark Karpales. He could be rich just because he got hacked.
There you go.
But that's the same with Bitfinex, right? Bitfinex
me.
Bitfinex hackers got caught recently.
Oh yeah,
They
yeah,
found
yeah,
a ton of, and Bitfinex already reimbursed everybody for the hack. So
yeah, off the revenue, yeah.
yeah, off of their revenue, they reimbursed everybody. So do you think Tether's now finally really backed? I mean, they got
I think it always
billions
was
of
pretty much
dollars
something
of
I would have been at least okay with.
they got billions of dollars of coins back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not worried about Tether much these days. Not much less than I was for a long time. Let's say that.
I mean, I think there's a lot of other players in the game as well. You know, you can see USDC is really catching up.
Yeah,
Binance has his own stable coin. DAI is very popular as well.
because the thing is, with a stable coin, so much of it is about trust.
Hmm.
And USDC actually sells the trust. They actually do the auditing and the transparency that Tether claimed they would do always and never did. And that's the problem with, the industry is getting more mature, and that's the good side of the maturity, I suppose, is that you got the players like USDC coming in
Yeah, yeah.
and taking over.
Anyway, I think we've gone off topic a bit.
Yeah.
But it's been a great chat about the ETH merge and stuff like that. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys, if you're watching this. We do a podcast every week, or at least we try to do it every week. And let us know what kind of topics you'd like to see us discuss.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think that's it for today. Anything you want to end with, Rufus or Phil?
Watch out there. Watch out.
Yeah, watch out, watch out.
stay safe.
You know, your crypto, your keys, not your crypto. You know, stuff like that. Don't keep all your crypto on the exchanges. Don't talk to
Once it
strangers.
goes proof
Don't
of
take
stake-
candy from strangers as well.
Once it goes proof of stake, you even if it's your keys, you got to watch out for them minority forks.
Watch out for the minority forks, because
Celebrity developers.
they'll just might fork you.
Yeah. Take care.
All right, guys. Thank you. Take care, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Talk to you guys next week.